Darius I, the architect of the powerful Achaemenid Empire, was the greatest and most intelligent king of this dynasty and did many things for Iran. Darius I, known as Darius the Great, is one of the most prominent kings of Iran before Islam and the most important king of the Achaemenid dynasty. During his period, the Achaemenid Empire reached its peak of power. Many historical works and inscriptions have been left from him, which show the stabilization of the political and economic power of Iran in his era. Darius I is the first king of ancient Iran who wrote down the events of his reign and even before his accession to the throne in various inscriptions and informs every researcher about the events of the 6th and 5th centuries BC and before that. Darius I was the greatest king of his age in the ancient world. Darius I was the son of a satrap named Vishtasep who had an empire in Parthia and came from a side branch of the Achaemenid dynasty. Cambodia had made him the commander of his personal guard, and in this position, he accompanied him on his war trip to Egypt. 6 of Darius's allies chose him as king after the death of false Parthia. Although Darius introduced himself from the Achaemenid dynasty, he married the daughters of Cyrus for the legitimacy of his kingdom in order to strengthen his belonging to the Achaemenid dynasty. Darius I was free-spirited and he paid special attention to the nations and tribes that were in the vast territory of the Achaemenid Empire and tried to fulfill their wishes and needs. Dariush was a political and hot-tempered person, but he respected the religion of the people of his territory and treated the nations under his rule with kindness, but he dealt hard with incompetent rulers and did not show mercy to them. Darius suppressed many rebellions in his time. He did this extensive movement by his loyal troops. This work, which resulted in order and security, ended in 517 BC. Dariush's trilingual stone inscription on the slopes of Bistan mountain between Kermanshah and Hamadan shows Dariush's determination to destroy the false Parthia. The content of Dariush's inscription is a complete document about his political, military and royal life. Darius I was the son of Vishtasep from the Achaemenid dynasty and belonged to the eastern branch of that dynasty. He was an Amirzade whose father was the governor of Bakhtar. After Achaemenid, 7 kings came to the throne, and Darius is thus the 9th king of this dynasty. When Dariush reached his youth, due to his carelessness, he found the necessary strength to enter the military system and entered the army. In his explanatory inscription to prove his legitimacy, Darius emphasizes his Achaemenid status in other stone inscriptions. Probably, Darius is not lying and his predecessors belonged to the Achaemenid branch. Dariush's insistence on being an Achaemenian is because he wants not to discredit Iranian laws and to respect the previous traditions and practices of his ancestors and consider himself to be of the race and lineage of kings. Darius married Cyrus's daughter Achusa in order to get closer to the Achaemenid dynasty. Historical sources do not provide much information about Dariush's teenage period, but probably his teenage years coincided with the last years of Cyrus' reign. After the sudden death of Cyrus in 529 BC in northeastern Iran at the hands of the Amirzades, and the rise of Cambodia to power in his court, he successfully passed the military ranks. As a smart soldier, Dariush advanced to the rank of army emir and personal spearman of the king, and during the Cambodian period, he was sent to Egypt while maintaining the position of army emir as the commander of the royal guard in the front line of spearmen. Dariush became the commander of the Achaemenian spearmen in Egypt at the age of 28, in the same year 522 BC, as a trusted figure of Cambodia. In the same year, Darius ascended the throne and arrested Gamotmog and killed him. Some have considered Darius to be 36 years old at this time, following Persica by Theseus. In this year, Cambodia, the son and successor of Cyrus, died, and the false Parthia took advantage of the king's absence in the country and rebelled. Parthia called himself king and was in power over Erech for 3 to 6 months, and before the end of that year, Darius pulled him down from the throne and took his place. Dariush was less than 70 years old when he died. The wives of Dariush were Parsi. He married 2 daughters of Cyrus and 1 daughter of Parthia. After Darius ascended the throne, he divided the country into satrapies, appointed governors over them and ordered them to send taxes, ransoms, and tributes to the Achaemenid treasury. During the reign of Darius, campaigns were carried out to Greece and Egypt. Darius I decided to attack Greece in retaliation for Greece's attack on Sardis. But he lost in the Marathon War and did not find a deadline to make up for it. Researchers evaluate Dariush as a far-sighted realist king with a strong will and firm determination who performed positively and did great services for his country. Dariush had the right opinion in the selection of country officials, army commanders and other administrators of people's affairs in the province, and since he was more than sensitive and precise, he did not slip and make mistakes in selecting people. Dariush was gentle and reasonable with the defeated governments. If Darius did not sit on the throne, the lifespan of the Achaemenid government would be shorter. He re-established the imperial system and created a new organization. During his reign, Iran experienced its greatest expansion, and after him the period of incompetence of the Achaemenid kings began.